Okay, I'm going to start with this verse. This is AMOS 9:1. And this really makes me think of these people in underground bases, dumbs, or up in their airships that think they can escape, think they're safe and hidden deep underground or way up in the air. Though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, like hiding inside the mountains, and though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. I haven't thought about that one as much, but I guess that's probably true. They probably do have bases at the bottom of the sea as well. Though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil, and not for good. It's also interesting, this is at the end of Amos, and right after is Obadiah, and right after the end of Amos, right in the beginning of Obadiah, there's some similar verses make me think of the same things, like the airships and whatnot. Like Obadiah 1:4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So even though they set their nest, they exalt themselves as the eagle, and they set their nest among the stars, I will bring them down. You are in the Holy Grail. Holy as in whole, complete, wholesome, whole, and holy as in separate. The Holy Grail, separate container. Separate from what? From everything that is. Separate from what is. But how can anything be separate from everything that is? That's impossible. Exactly. It is impossible. This is what is not.
Well, that's especially impossible.
Not at all. It's very simple.
Then explain it.
Now that's impossible. It came to me in a dream, and I forgot it in another dream.
The negative space between two human faces. Separateness. The human experience.
Your explanations are pure weapons-grade baloney-um. It's all impossible.
Nothing is impossible. Not if you can imagine it. That's what being a scientist is all about.
No, that's what being a magical elf is all about.
That's what being a scientist is all about? No, that's what being a magical elf is all about. Elf, extremely low frequency, the bottom of the well, dense, gross matter, not real. Okay? And when he says it, we got the Y on his shirt. See him pointing to it? Another angle on the alphabets, the letters and numbers that I've had for a while. In the Kabbalah and Hebrew mysticism stuff, there's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, and they relate this to 22 points of creation in the human body. So it would be your 10 fingers and your 10 toes is 20. And then they count the genitalia and your tongue as 2 more, which would give 22. And if you think about it, it does make kind of logical sense. You create sexually offspring, begetting, and you create with your words, with your mouth. And I feel like the tongue one is what's kind of missing in, like, when I say the, like, 5 is for the human form and the star, the pentagram, not inverted, not as a evil sign, just representing man, like the starfish shape, like your 4 limbs and your head forming the starfish. So another way to think about this, since they count like the mouth and the genitalia as points of creation, you could imagine the 6-pointed star or the rimfram star or whatever as the same thing like Vitruvian Man, but with his genitalia pointing down and his head thrown back and his tongue sticking out straight up in the air. So he's like spread eagle, 2 arms, 2 legs, head thrown back, tongue up, and genitalia down. That's like the 6-pointed star. So there's no vowels in Old Hebrew. From what I understand, that was all introduced later with the, I forget what they're called, the little accent tit and tat marks. And also, like I said, the Semitic languages, Hebrew, it seems to be an older language, like English, Latin, Spanish, French, all seem to be built, overlaid over this foundation. Whereas Hebrew seems like it was probably came about organically or was given to humans or copied from shapes in nature and stuff like that. Whereas a lot of our modern languages are complete fabrications. Like I said, which I think are confused on purpose in a way to allow them to lay over these letters and numbers with each other. Okay, so if you think about the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet representing the human form, 10 fingers, 10 toes, genitals, and tongue, we have a 26-letter alphabet. Okay? And I was wondering if this was like trying to keep us in a low-minded state, beast mind, or like Nephilim, fallen angel alphabet, okay? Because this is 1 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 4 through 8. It's about giants, killing giants, King David. And it came to pass after this that there arose war at Gezer with the Philistines, at which time Sibbecai the Hushathite slew Sippai that was of the children of the giant, and they were subdued. And there was war again with the Philistines. And Elhanan the son of Jair slew Lami, the brother of Goliath, the Gittite, whose spear staff was like a weaver's beam. Okay, so David slew Goliath, and now it's talking about the slaying of his brother, another of the children of the giant. And then go to the next page here, verse 6. And yet again there was a war at Gath, where was a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 4 and 20, 6 on, so 24, 6 on each hand and 6 on each foot. And he also was the son of the giant. But when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimei, David's brother, slew him. These were born under the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. So the giants are always depicted as having 6 fingers and 6 toes on each hand and foot rather than 5. So if you imagine the Hebrew alphabet, 22 characters, being 10 fingers, 10 toes, tongue, and genitalia, you could imagine a 26 letter alphabet would be like the giant, the Nephilim, fallen, false kind of alphabet, deceptive alphabet, deceivers, where it adds up to 26. Because you see, they have 6 toes on each foot, 6 fingers on each hand. So your hands are 12, your feet are 12. That's 24, plus the genitals and the tongue gives us 26. So I wonder if that's symbolic or just a joke on us or whatever, that like their alphabet is like the human alphabet and our 26 letter alphabet is like the giant alphabet or the Nephilim alphabet. I was also wondering if Gath, the giants from Gath, is related to like Golgotha, the skull, Gath, Golgotha, or like the Goths. Gath, Golgotha, giants from Gath. I wonder if it ties into Gog and Magog at all. The Goths, Gath, skull. And I think they're traditionally identified as like the Slavic people. Gog and Magog. I really don't know. I shouldn't speak on that. But yeah, I was wondering if it had anything to do with the skull, the giants from Gath, and the giants are defy Israel. And if you think of Israel about like as like spiritual humanity, spiritual Israel or something like that, I wonder if this conflict between the Israel and the giants defying Israel and Gath, if it's something like in the mind of man, like a struggle between the old way and the new way, the old world and the old world, or the beast, might is right, competitive reality, or the new cooperative up reality, or new world, Jerusalem. I also think it's interesting that right in the next chapter it says, and Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel. So like to do a census. Satan provoked David to number Israel. Like he tempted him and he did a census, and Joab knows it's wrong. He doesn't want to do it, but he does it anyway. And Joab's kind of like, dude, things are going good. We're following the Lord and everyone's happy and things are going the right way. But I think that this is like a Roman thing, and I think this represents that need, the downward material orientation. Like, how much do I have? How many people do I have? I want to count every grain of sand, and the needing to know, the chessboard, the pixels, the needing to know, the simulations, the surveillance, this orientation that the meaning is in the data. And if you can just count everything and count all your things and acquire everything, I think that's sort of what this is representing, with provoking him to number the people, to do the census.